first image that sticks in my mind when I think about the Heart of Darkness is the death of the Helmsman. I'm sure that would be something that I can illustrate, something that has got strong kind of evocative imagery to it, which is different in both the film and the book, but I think I'll take my own kind of view on it, try something a bit different maybe, just kind of more of a feel of the situation rather than a perfect representation. I never use colour, too busy using line and pattern, but I still want to use that as well. I want to create shapes, fill in the gaps that I usually leave. I want to use it to make something bright as opposed to just something intricate and detailed like I normally would. I want to push the boat out a bit and just play around with different things. Been looking at some paintings and things, and I remembered it was Van Gogh's Starry Night. It was the shapes and the swirls and the colours, and if I want to bring in some kind of idea of death in this deep heat of a jungle, I want to use that kind of swirly, kind of feverish madness. The colours are blurring in your vision, but bring in powerful colours. I just feel it would work better than the pastel palettes I usually use.
Both his hands clutched that cane. It was the shaft of a spear that, either thrown or lunged through the opening, had caught him in the side just below the ribs. The blade had gone in out of sight after making a frightful gash. My shoes were full. A pool of blood lay very still, gleaming dark red under the wheel. His eyes shone with an amazing luster. The fusillade burst out again. He looked at me anxiously, gripping the spear like something precious, with an air of being afraid I would try to take it away from him. I had to make an effort to free my eyes from his gaze to attend to the steering. With one hand, I felt above my head for the line of the steam whistle and jerked out screech after screech hurriedly.
Some other illustrators and painters, and I found this James R. Eads, who does these fantastic pieces. And I think his use of colour, a great inspiration, and taking a few ideas from what he's doing, I think I can find a way of working into my pattern and line, and things that I'm used to doing, and hopefully mix that with the figure and the form and the shape and the kind of surreal imagery that I've come up with so far, and this kind of penciled out idea. But I think the best thing to do would be to play with it digitally, because then there's no end of possibilities and iterations that I can muck about with and see how it comes out.
The tumult of angry and warlike yells was checked instantly. And then from the depths of the woods went out such a tremulous and prolonged wail of mournful fear and utter despair as may be imagined to follow the flight of the last hope from earth. There was a great commotion in the bush. The shower of arrows stopped. A few dropping shots rang out sharply. Then silence, in which the languid beat of the stern wheel came plainly to my ears. I put the helm hard a starboard at the moment when the pilgrim in pink pajamas, very hot and agitated, appeared in the doorway. "The manager sends me," he began in an official tone, and stopped short. "Good God," he said, glaring at the wounded man. We two whites stood over him, and his lustrous and inquiring glance enveloped us both. I declare it looked as though he would presently put to us some questions in an understandable language. But he died without uttering a sound, without moving a limb, without twitching a muscle. Only in the very last moment, as though in response to some sign we could not see, to some whisper we could not hear, he frowned heavily. And that frown gave to his black death mask an inconceivably somber, brooding and menacing expression. The luster of inquiring glance faded swiftly into vacant glassiness.
There's been a lot of playing about with this piece, but it's been a lot of fun, and I think I'm really happy with the way it's turned out, the very kind of painty style of it, and I think digital was definitely the way to go, as my previous attempts with pencil, crayons and black paper just didn't have the vibrancy that I wanted, and I didn't have the control over what I was doing. I really hope I can continue this kind of idea through the rest of my pieces. I've got a few other ideas lined up, a cover thing and another illustration and another one. I really want this to work, so hopefully this will get a thumbs up and I can continue with this this theme, this vibrant, which is odd for something called Heart of Darkness, but I think everybody's going to be doing it, dark and macabre and all this kind of thing, and I want to keep the vibe, but I don't want to dull down the book. I mean, reading it is hard enough. Let's bring in a bit of power and a bit of light to the darkness. Oh dear.